Alright, so we're back at the Henry Roost. Finally, Roll Call 219 here, and it is kind of early in the season, but I'm going to switch up what I'm shooting off of my crossbow, the Killer Instinct. Unfortunately, looking at the doe that I took on opening day, I wasn't kind of satisfied because I've shot deer in a similar spot, and it didn't quite, the broadhead didn't quite do what this one did. And I'm using the G5 Monotex. They've worked for me in the past. I'm not slamming them. But I've noticed something with this broadhead particularly is when it hit bone, when it hit those first couple of ribs there, it totally got mangled and destroyed. As you can see here, it's supposed to have 3 bladed sides. It's only got 2 left, and the shaft is bent. So when it went in to that animal and it hit those first couple of ribs, the bolt ricocheted and went through the bottom, and it totally tore up this broadhead. So I'm not really happy. Like, I shot an Allen broadhead back in the day at a doe, and I hit her with it, and the same thing happened, and it was a clear pass through, and it was a shoulder shot. So I just don't think these things kind of stand up to bone. So you really have to put it in the bread basket for it. And you know, that's just the way I see it, that these are reliable to a certain point. So getting back to what I'm switching to, I went to this overpriced sporting goods store called Dunham's. I hardly shop there. I go there to see what they have, especially ammunition-wise, because when 9mm was impossible to find, they had 9x18 on the shelf, Makarov. And I have a bunch of Makarov pistols, so I just shot Makarov instead of 9mm during the coof, and where, you know, the ammo shortage showed its ugly head. So I went to the store, and they had these on clearance. And I'm going to give a shout out. I don't know this man. I don't have really any affiliation. I've commented on a couple of videos and sort of interacted with him, but he's a pretty busy dude. But his name's Death by Bungie on YouTube. You should go take a look at it. He swears by these Swhackers. And here recently, him and his daughter have been going out, and they've been shooting a lot of deer. And he shot a really nice buck the other day, and he's using these Swhackers. Not only that, I've seen some people in my Facebook group that I'm a part of for deer hunting, and they're using Swhackers. And just the devastation that these things do to the animal is awesome. It's a lot of blood loss and a quick recovery. So that's what you want. You want a lot of blood loss and a quick recovery of the animal. And these things seem to be doing it. A lot of people are using them. They're 125 grain, 2.25 cutting diameter. So the diameter of these things are huge compared to, like, you know, a Rage broadhead or a Monotech or something like that. You know, they're gigantic. And the way these work, they're kind of cool. They're reversed instead of the traditional, like, Rage broadheads that, you know, are kind of staggered and then they open up. These are kind of the opposite way, and it has this little band here, this little white band here, and it holds those blades down. And as the shaft passes through the animal, the blades open up this way. So it's kind of reversed. And what's awesome, looking at their website and then watching a couple videos about the people that make Swhackers, you know, the broadhead opens up inside the animal, not when it hits the hide. The first thing that hits the hide is like this chisel point, and as it hits the animal, goes through the hide, the blades open up inside the animal instead of it immediately hitting the hide and then trying to open. A lot of those mechanicals have problems. These seem to be solving that problem, getting through the hide and opening up inside the animal instead of vice versa, opening up when it hits the animal compared to inside of it. And I'm telling you, massive devastation when it hits a deer. And I've seen it, and I have never seen these things kind of fail. I've even watched a dude on the internet shoot these through metal, and they do get kind of mangled up, but it went right through the metal, and it was a pretty good thick piece of metal. So this front portion does a lot of damage, and then the blades open up inside the animal, create the massive exit wound. That's another thing I really notice about these broadheads is the exit wound is the done deal. You know, going through and penetrating when it first hits the animal is great, but the cutting diameter of the blades is so devastating. Almost like like a hollow point. The hollow point will go in, and it'll start to open up inside, and then it'll create massive destruction. That's what these do. I could never find them for a crossbow. I always found them for, like a compound, things like that. So I finally came through. There was only 2 on the shelf. I should have bought both of them, but I didn't have a whole lot of money. I'd like to thank my folks over there on Patreon. You guys helped me get these, which is a plus. I mean, Patreon's pretty much dying at this point, but that came in really handy so I can get these, so I can continue to be successful this year. And, I don't have anything against these other than when this thing starts hitting bone, or I bet you if it hits the shoulder, these are going to be your end result here for them. I've seen that guy, Death by Bungee, shoot a deer in the shoulder, and it goes right through the scapula and out the other side, and it's devastating. So I finally found him in my area. I'm going to put these on here. It comes with 3 broadheads, a practice head, and 6 replacement bands, because you got to kind of replace these bands because they hold them in there, and then they probably snap when it opens up. And then there's your practice broadhead, and then your replacement bands. They give you quite a few of them too. For 3 broadheads, it's a pretty good deal. So you can put these on here and go through the motions. Bone crushing, razor sharp, anti-deflecting, super strong. And I think that's what I had a problem with. When these things hit bone, they deflected because it went into the animal, deflected, and went out the bottom. And I can't be having that because it ran into the guts. And when you gut shot a deer, I'm going to tell you, recovery's hard. These kind of eliminate that because of the cutting diameter and then the wallop that these things provide. Now, the only thing I'm up against now is if my crossbow's fast enough. If it's fast enough to really push 125 grain, I think these were 100. These G5s here, I think they were 100, and the other ones that I was using before were 100, and I have to check the Rage ones. I'm not sure what those are. Yeah, these are the other ones I got, the hypodermic crossbow. These are also 100 grain. So these kind of have the same kind of perspective with the band on there, and then as it hits the animal, the blades get released from the band. So I mean, I've seen these in action on the internet. I've seen it on the Facebook groups, and people are really saying that these are what to go to, and you'll probably have really good success. And not only good success, you'll recover the animal pretty quick. Time is changing. If you haven't noticed, if you live in my area, in the northern part of Indiana. So you used to have until 6:30, maybe 6:25 to shoot. Now it's even longer because of the time change. So the sunrise isn't until 7:01, and then sunsetting is way earlier. So you're kind of losing time, and when hunting pressure starts, that time, like the other day, it ran out on me, and that's something you have to look at. Putting a good shot on a deer, even if it's not the greatest shot, but it's going to give you a good opportunity to hurry up and recover that deer. I don't like treading through the woods at night. That spot can kind of get dicey if you go look at my other videos about predators being in the area. And I'm telling you, especially if you hit them with one of these, from what I've seen, there's going to be a lot of blood in the area. And what blood does is, attract, predators. That's why I never gut my animals by where I hunt. I'll either go somewhere else or I'll wait to get home, because I don't want those predators in there, because then it spooks deer and the deer won't come back there because they know the predators are there. But these are the Swhackers number 231 crossbows, 125 grain. So I'm going to give these a shot tomorrow and try and see what I come up with if a deer comes into the area, and hopefully they do what they said, they schwack this deer. I'd like to thank my old and my new subscribers and just the people that zip through. I greatly appreciate it. I want to thank the people on Patreon that has been sticking through thick and thin. I greatly do appreciate the support. Your support is probably going to make me be even more successful for harvesting deer this year. Like always, guys, we'll catch you on the next one.